yeah, UFOs, the Chariots of Israel, part 2. Okay, I'm gonna get right into the scripture. We got Isaiah chapter 66, verses 15 through 16, which says, "For behold, Yahuwah will come with fire, and with chariots, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahuwah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many." That's what Nahum chapter 2 verses 4 is talking about. When it says, "The chariots shall rage in the streets, they shall jostle one against another. In the broad ways they shall seem like torches, or lights. They shall run like the lightnings." Then we got 2 Kings. I'm going to turn there. 2 Kings chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, "And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them." But he didn't know what he was talking about. You got verse 17. It says, "And Elisha prayed and said, Yahuwah, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see." And what I thought about when I first read that is how there are certain things that we can't see that are there, but because of the way that the light reflects off of them, it's almost like camouflage. It's kind of like UV rays, certain lights you can shine and see things that you normally couldn't see without that light. One example is I think it's a 4th generation night vision goggles. If you get night vision goggles, you can look in the sky at night and you can see a lot of stuff. You can see a lot of these chariots. A lot of those chariots that you look in the sky normally at night, you don't see. If you use night vision goggles, you'll be able to see them. And another example of this particular scripture, where there were chariots of the Most High. These chariots of Israel was all around them the whole time. But Elisha had to pray to Yahuwah to open the young man's eyes so that he could see them. One movie that we had just watched today called Insidious. That's a pretty good movie to watch if you want to understand how certain lights can be used to see things that you normally would not be able to see. I had no idea that type of stuff was even in that movie when I first studied this, and I was talking about how there's certain things that you can't see that's there, but if you use certain lights you can see them, like red lights, certain ultraviolet lights, yellow lights, and blue lights. A lot of blue lights and black lights, you can use those to see things that you normally couldn't see. But anyway, in this rest of this verse, it says, "And Elisha prayed and said, Yahuwah, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And Yahuwah opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha." So the chariots of fire, that was the chariots of Israel. That was the chariots of the Most High that he saw. And when you go to 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 12 and chapter 13 verse 14, which I already covered in the first video, how that's talking about the chariots of Israel. That's what these so-called UFOs are. Yeah, I know it's like I got a lot of hype in the first video. I had a real hot debate with some people, some guys trying to say I was crazy because I believe that UFOs are real. But once you put the scriptures together, you're going to see that that's what the scriptures was talking about the whole time. This stuff been in the Bible for thousands of years. And I've never, ever heard preachers preach or teach this in the churches. because we're going to need to understand what these chariots of Israel are going to be used for. What people who don't know no better call them UFOs. I was calling them UFOs. I mean, hey, that's just what they call them. But they're chariots of Israel. And in these scriptures that I'm reading, I'm showing you what they're going to be used for. Isaiah chapter 66 verses 15 through 16 clearly says that he's going to use these chariots like a whirlwind. I mean, just like that movie. Okay, and we got Psalm 68 verse 17. I already went over that in the first video, how the chariots of the Most High are like 20,000 and even thousands of angels. So the angels are with the chariots. And if you go to Ezekiel, let me just go there. Ezekiel 19 and 9. I think I covered that already, but I'm gonna backtrack to Ezekiel 19 and 9 just briefly, because this is very important, very important. So Ezekiel 19, I think it's 19. Let's see. It might be 20 and 9. I got okay. That's Exodus. I'm sorry, Exodus 19. My mistake. My mistake. All right. Exodus 19 and 9. It says, "And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever." And Moses told the words of the people unto Yahuwah. Now the reason why I brought that up, because in Psalm 68 and 17, when it talks about the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, it says Yahuwah is among them as in Sinai, in the holy place. So you got to go back to when Scripture talked about Mount Sinai, and how did he come down on Mount Sinai? Okay, so we're in Exodus right here. This is where he came down in a thick cloud, because he makes the clouds his chariot, right? Okay, and we got the thick cloud, which shows his chariot. And if you skip on down to Exodus chapter, well, Psalm 104 and 3 talks about how he makes the clouds his chariot. So we know that when he came down on Mount Sinai, it was in one of those chariots. It wasn't just clouds. It was a chariot, according to Psalm 104 and 3. Okay? All right. And if you go to Exodus chapter 24, you're going to see that you're going to kind of get a visual example as to exactly what some of this chariot looks like. At least that's what I think it looks like according to Scripture. Okay, Exodus. I don't know why I want to keep saying Ezekiel. I'm going to Ezekiel, but I'm not going there yet. Exodus 24, and starting at verse 9. Then went up Moshe and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the Elohim of Israel, and there was under his feet. They saw the Elohim, or the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. I want to make sure I read that right. Now, when it says under his feet, as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, that's not talking about like stones on the ground. What he was standing on was diamond. It's like a huge floor made out of one diamond, a big giant diamond. Okay, and it was a paved work, so it looked like stone diamonds, sapphire, and the color of sapphire is that's that bluish color. And I got a picture of it looked at something like this color right there. So you can see that bluish sapphire color, and something like this. I don't know if you can see that. All right, right there. So yeah, it was a bluish color, really pretty blue color. That's what that paved the work of the sapphire stone that his feet was standing on. That's what he was standing on. Okay. And if you go directly across from that and you turn to Revelation chapter 4, verses 6 through 7, you're gonna see that that's what everybody is standing on there. Revelation 4, 6, and 7. I'll try to go there right quick. Revelation 4, and it says, "And behold, the throne, before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal." Okay, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were four beasts full of eyes before and behind. Now when you see eyes, that's talking about lights, full of lights before and behind, because the beasts had the chariots with them. And they had these chariots, and these chariots got lights all over them. They're just probably the most beautiful thing you will ever see. The ones that I seen were so far away I couldn't really, get a good look at them. But I have seen some through binoculars at night, and it was a beautiful sight. But I never really got to see them really close up. But the sea of glass in this verse in Revelation 4 and 6, that's the same thing he's standing on Mount Sinai. That's why he refers back to Mount Sinai in Psalm 68 and 17. So we see him standing on that. Everybody's standing on that blue sapphire, which looks like blue glass, a sea of glass. That's why the word sea is used, because it looks like water, because the sapphire is blue. So it's like blue diamond. The whole floor is made of this blue diamond. All right. Yeah, that's a big deal right there. Pretty expensive. Okay, then we got now we're going to go to Ezekiel. Okay, I've been wanting to go there for a while, so we're going to go back to Ezekiel. Okay, and we're going to start at chapter 10. Ezekiel 10, and I'm going to start at verse 9. "And when I looked, behold, the four wheels by the cherubim, one wheel by one cherub, and another wheel by another cherub, and the appearance of the wheels were as the color of a beryl stone." There go that blue again. If you type in beryl stone, you can do a search on YouTube right now. You type in beryl stone, you're going to see they're going to show you the stones, what color they are. Some of them are different colors, but most of them are blue, kind of bluish, blue-greenish look. That same blue that you see in those movies like Skyline, Battlefield, Los Angeles. Just watch the movies. That's all you got to do is watch the movies. A lot of the big wig higher-ups know this stuff. Okay, and they're trying to warn y'all. All right, we got the wheels was as the color of a beryl stone. You want to keep that in mind, because if it's not the color of a beryl stone, it's probably a unidentified flying object that the government made. See, the government got technologies and information how to make their own spacecrafts, because they like to go into outer space too, even though they was told by the angels not to go back up there no more. Just thought I'd throw that in there in case y'all wonder why we haven't been going to the moon anymore. All right. Then we got verse 10. "And as for their appearances, they four had one likeness, as if a wheel had been in the midst of a wheel." So they look round. Okay, that's what these look like. Chariots of the Most High, round. "And they went, when they went upon their four sides, and turned not as they went." So sometimes you'll see them pictures on YouTube and different places on the net where they'll make fake UFOs. They'll make these things that's spinning around and all that. Most High's chariots don't need to spin around like that. That's fake. You can tell the real from the fake if you just go with scripture. All right. Okay, they turned not as they wasn't spinning around like a top. Okay, but to the place whether the head looked, they followed it. They turned not as they went. It said it twice in that 11th verse. They don't turn. They don't be spinning all around like how you see on the different little fake movies or whatever. All right. Verse 12. And their whole body and their backs and their hands and their wings and the wheels were full of eyes. Now what that means is they were full of lights, not eyes. They were full of lights. All you got to do is go to, I don't think I wrote it down, but those of you who are avid Bible readers, all I got to do is just talk about it. There was, I think it was a parable that the Most High was talking about in the Gospels when he was talking to the disciples, and he said something along the lines of, if thy whole body be single, if your eye be single, your body will be full of light. So he talks about the eye and the body, and I'll probably post that up in the description, or either I'll put that up as a comment too, because I want to make sure I get all of it, the verses out. So yes, there is a verse where the Most High talks about the eye being the light. So if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. So it talks about eye and light. And it compares the two. So when you see here where it says full of eyes, it's talking about full of lights. And it says, and as for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O wheel. So then let me go on down to verse 16. We're still in Ezekiel chapter 10. I'm at verse 16. Please follow along. This is very important. You're gonna want to get this. Okay. And when the cherubims went, the wheels went by them. And when the cherubims lifted up their wings to mount up from the earth, the same wheels also turned not from beside them. And when they stood, these stood. And when they were lifted up, these lifted up themselves also. For the spirit of the living creature was in them. In other words, the cherubim controlled the wheels, these crafts. Okay, now I want you to skip on down to chapter 11. We're still in Ezekiel, and starting at verse 16. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. It's talking about us, those of us that were scattered. Everybody was not scattered. So this is only talking about people who were living in the Holy Land that was scattered. Alright? And it says, therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will even gather you from the people. He's going to gather us from the people. Now notice that he's talking about this in the same chapters where he's showing Ezekiel the cherubims with the wheels, which is these chariots. So think about, he's going to gather us. How can he gather us? There are a lot of us. Okay, how is he going to gather us? So he says, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered. So there won't be no need for us to try to make no exodus and to leave America. So when people say, you got to leave America, they're wrong. Okay, the beady-eyed black guy Richard got it wrong. All right, and there's verses like this all over in Scripture. All right, so it says in the rest of this, it says, and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel, and they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and will give them a heart of flesh. All right, I'm gonna skip on to verse 21. But as for them whose heart walketh after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their own heads, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Now look at verse 22. Then did the cherubims lift up their wings, and the wheels beside them, and the glory of the Elohim of Yasharel, or Israel, was over them above. So he talks about how he's going to gather us from the nations, and he's going to bring us together. And you got verse 22 where he shows the cherubims lifting up their wings and the wheels beside them. Why is that? Why is he going into how he's going to gather the people, and then Ezekiel's seeing these wheels? Okay, the spirit of the cherubim is in the wheels, but the wheels themselves are empty. So you got a bunch of these beautiful wheels, chariots of Israel, but they're empty. And he talks about how he's going to gather us, while he's showing Ezekiel these cherubim and these wheels. Okay. Matthew chapter 24 verse 31 is where he talks about he's going to send his angels to gather together his elect. How is he going to do that? Okay, these angels, obviously they got something to put us in, right? Then you got the book of John chapter 14 verses 1 through 3 where he promises to prepare a place for us, then to come again and gather us unto himself, so that where he is, there we're going to be also. Now, where is the Father's house at, according to that John chapter 14 verses 1 through 3 is talking about? Okay, that's in the heavens. That's light years away from here. That ain't in the sky. That's way past the sky. Now, if he's going to take us there, how are we going to survive that trip? Okay, because you have to understand that that's a long way. So we'll have to be inside some type of spacecraft maybe. Okay. And for those that might say, well, no, it says we're going to change. We're going to be changed in the twinkling of an eye, and we're going to be like him, and all of this. No, that's not what that was talking about. That scripture is referring to we're going to be changed because we're going to have a change in our mind once we see him. We're going to know everything that we need to know, because we are changed by the renewing of our mind. Okay, this fleshly body will not be able to live forever until it is endowed with that power by the Most High. That's what the tree of life is for. That's why Adam and Eve had to get put out the garden, because if they'd have started eating off the tree of life, they would have lived forever. And where's the tree of life right now? It's in that holy city. Okay, and the only people that are going to be able to go in the city and eat off that tree of life are they to keep his commandments according to scripture. And I will make sure I put these scriptures in the description, or as a comment, or I might edit the movie and put them on the screen. But yeah, that's what that's talking about. So we're going to need some type of mode of transportation to make it to the throne room that we're going to be standing in, according to Revelations chapter 7 verses 9 through 15. How did we get before the throne? Okay, how did we get there? All right, we obviously was carried there in some type of spacecraft, some type of ship. We was in the chariot of Israel. That's what they're for. So these chariots are for your salvation, y'all. That's what it's for. So, you know, I got some of the verses wrote down here. All of those verses here over here, and I got these here, all of these verses here. But if you follow these verses through, and then you get to Habakkuk chapter 3 verse 8, it clearly says that the chariots of salvation. So whose salvation is these chariots for? See what I'm saying? These chariots, they're for somebody's salvation. So I hope this helps explain how that these chariots that people are calling UFOs are for the salvation of Israel, for the Israelites. It's for our salvation. So yes, it is a part of your salvation. It's very important that you get that in your head. And I will be posting up like different videos that you can go and look at. There are other Hebrew Israelite brothers out there that have video footage of these chariots, you know, and they kind of look like stars at night, which kind of like fire. And during the day, they do look like clouds. Some of them, they use clouds as cover, as a camouflage. And yes, they are all around us. There are so many of them, it's just ridiculous. I mean, if you look at night, you can use just regular binoculars. I think they cost like $65 or something. And if you just pick you a blank spot in the sky that's completely dark, and take them binoculars and just look, I'm telling you, you're gonna see something. It's gonna trip you out. And but yeah, ever since I first seen them, I've been looking at them almost every night when I'm at work. So I hope this video blessed you, and I hope you understand that the Chariots of Israel is a part of your salvation if you are an Hebrew Israelite. And this also should help you to think about why come the military wants so much to try to scare everyone and try to make all these movies like we're going to have to fight and destroy these things. Alright, we watched Battlefield Los Angeles. Okay, what was that movie all about? They're fighting, trying to fight against the UFOs, you know. So it's actually the Chariots of Israel. And yeah, I mean, why they got this big old military? The Americans already own just about every place. I mean, and they're taking over everything, so it's not like they really need this big, huge, vast military. All right. So yeah, they're planning to fight against the Most High and His chariots. That's what they're doing. That's what that war in Revelations is all about. Them fighting against the Most High. So may Yahuwah bless you, and may He give you strength and understanding and knowledge concerning His Word, concerning the Scriptures. And I pray that we all know what it is we must do to get ready. So may Yahuwah bless you, and I'm out. Called us in prison, you packed us and you shield us, you beat us and you whipped us, you burned us and you killed us, and now you can't stop it. Yahuwah's coming back and he gon' get his revenge on all of you Edomites for what you did to his chosen people, 'cause you enslaved us, you caught us and imprisoned us, you packed us and you shipped us, you beat us and you whipped us, you burned us and you killed us,